Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a joint presentation between the Italian representative and the Belgian colleague from RCEL CELINE on the INSPIRE and the air quality. I think this is... the outline of this presentation is to understand how the monitoring is taking advantage, benefit from the INSPIRE directive and the implementation of this directive. We will provide you with some example of the air quality, the implementation of air quality in Italy, and then we will go in further details in describing the issue of the air quality and the environmental impact assessment in a case example in Belgium. So first of all, I would like to share with you what is the trends in the last year. INSPIRE dimensions are space and time nowadays, but as we know, INSPIRE directive started to deal with something that are well established in the land. Is a matter of geology, network, buildings, population, land cover, etc. But the principle of INSPIRE, so everything is going to develop a spatial data infrastructure at the end. But there you go. In the coming days, in the coming years, I would say, the environmental monitoring system facilities, the time series, and the near real-time data is taking a big role in the data flow from countries. So the time dimension of monitoring is taking the lead also in this area, and the INSPIRE infrastructure in terms of a governance pillar of the information system is applied also to the monitoring. So I will talk about inspiring the environmental monitoring. So you know that the science principles that are pretty much the same as we saw before in the presentation for the INSPIRE directives have been applying into the air quality monitoring system. That is a new directive. So we are coping and challenging, we are challenged with this new process to use the concept and the governance part of INSPIRE also to some new monitoring system. So this is the case for air quality. Would be also of interest to perform INSPIRE check to different monitoring systems such as the water, biodiversity, and also to the European data center. And the other new generation, I would say, information system or knowledge sharing system is the marine environment. We will have a speech in this soon after, because we are going to apply the marine strategy in the European countries. So what we are doing, having this in mind, what we are doing in Italy is to develop, to be part of a complex European process. But first of all, in the transposition of the directive in Italy, we adopted also the size principle, so we connected the spatial and time dimension into the same transposition mechanism. So we are running now the concept of infrastructure for spatial and environmental monitoring information. This is the infrastructure that is being built in Italy. And this will require also the participation of the territory, the region, and the Environmental Protection Agency network, because it is there where the data are collected for monitoring. So there is a vertical dimension in the Italian case, and then with this will be also addressed later in this session. So Italy was also in some air implementation pilot. It's an exercise run by the Commission. We are within the air quality data implementing provision pilot project of P7. So working on the reporting side, putting together the from territory to the European level. We will hear about the Earth impact assessment. I will also make a mention to a different exercise that we run in Italy in order to understand how this kind of information, the infrastructure, may be of benefit for different thematic issue. One of these is the preservation of cultural heritage. So it's just to switch a light on different opportunities that we have if we have a solid infrastructure for the knowledge and data sharing. And at this point, I pass the floor to the colleague.
Good morning, everyone. Well, I just wanted to quickly show this map by means of introduction to illustrate what the problem concerning air quality and the impact on health really boils down to. This is a map of the average life loss per person. Well, so the darker cells, and you see quite a few in Belgium and in Italy, where you have, well, on average, more than a year of life loss per person. So some people lose more, some less. That's the way an average goes. But it's not only the long-term life expectancy which is a problem, but also short-term exposure. We have a study which clearly demonstrates that even for pollution concentrations like 70 micrograms per cubic meter, you already have a well, increased mortality of 5%, which is pretty significant. And this is the level which we in Belgium base ourselves on for a smog alert, which is a short-term measure. Other countries have different measures. I put up, gave the Netherlands and France as an example, very different legislation. But so in our case, we have a whole system where we, based on forecasts, we continuously observe what the air quality will be in the coming days. And based on these forecasts, we do smog alerts where the speed limit on highways is decreased and so forth. But here I want to demonstrate an episode in January of 2010, where the predictions were pretty okay. But in the end, these were the concentrations which were actually measured, about 30 to 40 micrograms more than forecast. Was it our model which was not performing, or was there something else happening afterwards? These data are only available a day later. We clearly saw that there was a huge import from the continent, which increased these spikes. Just to demonstrate, well, the short-term measure does have a huge impact. The decrease of the speed limit on highways does increase up to 30% of the pollution in those areas, which certainly makes a big difference on short-term health exposure. Can Inspire be of assistance here? Well, it does provide a very useful legal framework, but at the same time, if I look at the services which Inspire compliant services at the moment, I'm a bit left in the cold, because there's nothing that really will help me to set some, well, to be able to have access to real-time data from Germany and for all member countries, actually, yeah? Because I mean it can also come from the south or from the southeast or whatever. But there is a strong candidate, the sensor observation services. Well, there is some work to be done to extend profiles to have an Inspire compliant SOS. There is a presentation about this topic on Thursday morning. Well, I mean, you could set something similar up with a WFS, but it would be very, very difficult. And even if you succeed, you will have something which will not be as performant as an SOS is out of the box. Just to quickly demonstrate what an SOS is, well, yeah, I mean, it looks very similar to the XML which comes out of a WFS type of service, with, well, a couple of very handy things that you can easily send the whole string of a time series, and the whole thing is queryable the way you would expect to query something like a sensor. Let's turn to high-resolution models, and well, with a specific aim to environmental impact assessments planning, very important topic. The quality of modeling is limited by in situ measurements. That's obviously outside the scope of INSPIRE. The representativeness of stations also outside of INSPIRE. But yeah, quality of and availability of external data sets. I will give a couple of examples. Let's take a concrete example, a very complex issue, traffic around the city of Antwerp. You have several scenarios which are, well, you have huge congestion problems. You have several scenarios for to do something about the problem. And to make a good decision, you need quality data. Otherwise, you cannot make good decisions, I am told. Let's have a look. Let's take NO2 concentrations in a high-resolution model for NO2 as an example. What do we need? We need the in situ measurements. I already touched upon this. We need Korean land cover. That's something that's a European data set. We need point source emissions in the industry. That's there is something like the EPRTR, but yeah, actually in this case we use something even which also includes the smaller sources. I was looking for example, you have also your line emissions from traffic, but to refine this, to make this data set usable for our needs, we also needed to include the location of tunnels and the height of bridges, for example. I ended up turning to OpenStreetMaps, and it was pretty easy to extract the information from there, but where are the INSPIRE services of this information? Future possibilities for refinement. Think, for example, what we could do if we would have readily available data or temporal traffic emissions. Congestion is not always does not always take the same. It doesn't always have the same time profile. We just use average time profiles based on yearly calculations to do our modeling. And the model is very much limited by the quality of the emissions which are entered into the model. There's another thing. Well, yeah, also the location of the roads for traffic management. The precise location is less relevant than for air quality. The modeling, the little inlet gives a demonstration of where, well, the road is about 200 meters to the north of what the actual location should be, which does has an impact on the concentrations that the model actually calculates. Again, the legal framework certainly helps. There are, well, I mean, for most data which we could use in modeling, there are adequate technical solutions, but yeah, real-time data is still a challenge. And on quality of data, INSPIRE is conspicuously quiet. That is, well, I mean, it's a known thing. It was a choice, but I think we are at a stage where we also need to somehow think how we can deal with that issue as well. But yeah, something which really is handy is the whole concept of transforming your infrastructure to a service-oriented architecture. These services, well, I mean, are not INSPIRE compliant. We will worry about that at a later stage. But still, we are using services, OGC services, quite extensively already, especially in cross-border situations, but also internally. For example, the Atmosis project, a whole forecasting chain was put into place, which starts off with sensor observation data, and that gets further refined to producing higher resolution predictions for the upcoming days. Well, yeah, the PM Lab project uses also sensor data to SOS data, which is transmitted by SOS, and then does a similar interpolation we do for the whole of Belgium. The handiness of a pan-European data set like Corine is very eminent in this project. And then there's also a Joaquin project where we also use SOS to facilitate being able to demonstrate similarities between pollutants. And EMF Plus, which has been mentioned a couple of times already, primarily focused on e-reporting and setting up an e-reporting service. So in summary, environmental monitoring is very important for air quality, and we need a performant technical solution for this problem. And the convenience of technical Inspire solutions is certainly critical for the success of something like Inspire. Services, that I think has been, until now, the approach of using services has been the most beneficial addition by the Inspire process. I thank you for your attention.